We're live from New Delhi, watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Death toll in Lebanon's pager blast rises to 9. Thousands injured as hundreds of pagers used by Hezbollah members exploded on Tuesday. Hezbollah blames Israel. No comment from Tel Aviv. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to visit Egypt as urgency to achieve a ceasefire deal in Gaza takes prominence. Lufthansa and Air France suspend flights to Tel Aviv, Tehran and Beirut as tensions in the region soar. All eyes on Jammu and Kashmir as 24 Assembly constituencies go to polls in the first phase today. Assembly elections in the region are the first since abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the US to attend the annual Quad Summit, also to address the Summit of the Future at the UN General Assembly. And in sports, in the 7th round of the chess Olympiad, the Indian men's team faced China, while the women's team to take on Georgia. After 6 consecutive wins, India is eyeing its first ever gold medal in the tournament. Well, starting with the top story, the death toll from pager explosions in Lebanon risen to 9 on Wednesday. Hundreds of pagers used by Hezbollah members exploded across Lebanon on Tuesday, killing at least 9 people. Iran's ambassador to Lebanon was among 2,800 other people who were wounded by the simultaneous blast. The pagers exploded in southern Lebanon, the southern suburbs of Beirut known as Dahieh, and the eastern Bekaa Valley, all Hezbollah strongholds. The group blamed Israel for what it called this criminal aggression and vowed that it would get just retribution. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli military on the wave of explosions, which came just hours after Israel announced it was broadening the aims of the war sparked by Hamas's October 7th attacks to include its fight against Hezbollah along its border with Lebanon. Meanwhile, security camera footage posted on social media appeared to show the blast and a man falling to the floor in an indoor vegetable market in Beirut in Lebanon. Meanwhile, major airlines Lufthansa and Air France have suspended flights to Tel Aviv, Tehran and Beirut until Thursday following explosions in Lebanon. Lufthansa announced the suspension of all flights to Israel and Iran, as well as bypassing their airspace. In a statement, Lufthansa said that this applies to all flights up to September 19th. Lufthansa last week already extended its suspension of flights to Beirut until October 15th. The airline is closely monitoring the situation. Similarly, Air France has also halted flights to Tel Aviv and Beirut, citing security concerns and emphasized that passenger and crew safety remains their top priority. The French company in statement said due to the security situation at the destinations, Air France has also suspended its connections from Paris, Charles de Gaulle and Beirut and Tel Aviv until September 19th, 2024 inclusive. Both airlines are evaluating conditions in West Asia on a daily basis amid rising tensions between Israel and Hezbollah. And hospitals in Lebanon are coping with the aftermath of the pager blast as casualties and those injured begin to rise. At one hospital in Beirut's southern suburbs, people were treated in a car park on thin mattresses and with medical gloves on the ground and ambulance stretchers covered in blood. Meanwhile, the Pentagon has denied any U.S. involvement in the pager blast in Lebanon. The denial by U.S. comes as Washington once again called for a diplomatic solution to tensions between Israel and Lebanon.
I can tell you, to my knowledge, there's no U.S. involvement in this at all. Again, it's something that we're monitoring. And in terms of potential escalation, I go back to what I said earlier in terms of a key focus for this department and the U.S. government writ large is on working with partners in the region, to include Israel, to prevent the conflict between Israel and Hamas from spiraling into a wider conflict. And that includes the tensions along the Israel-Lebanon border.
Well, the U.S. favors a diplomatic solution to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah.
When we think about the conflict along the blue line between Israel and Hezbollah, it has gone on for way too long, long enough. And so it is in everyone's interest to resolve it quickly and diplomatically. So we continue to believe that there should be a diplomatic resolution to this. And so I will leave it there. And well, actually, I'll add, this is why the ceasefire negotiation is so important. This is why the hostage deal is so important. This is why the president and his administration has been working around the clock, 24 hours to get that done. We believe the deal would help reduce tensions along the blue line, and that is one of the reasons, we believe diplomatic, obviously, efforts are critical and important at this time.
Israeli military has said that senior commanders, including Chief of Staff General Herzi Halevi, have held a situational review with a focus on preparedness in both offense and defense in all spheres, without giving details. There has been no change in the instructions given to civilians. However, the public has been told to be alert and vigilant, and any change in policy will be immediately put in place. However, the Israeli military refused to comment to questions about the detonations. And Sarit Zehavi, founder of the Israeli security think tank Alma, emphasized the unprecedented nature of a recent operation targeting Hezbollah. She noted that it effectively neutralized around 3,000 potential operatives capable of launching attacks on Israel. Zehavi highlighted the remarkable intelligence capabilities demonstrated by this operation and pointed out that its greatest impact lies in the psychological confusion it created within Hezbollah, showcasing a new strategic approach.
It is definitely an intelligence infiltration that is overwhelming capability. But I think the greatest achievement here is the confusion that it created among Hezbollah, the psychological damage among Hezbollah, and the fact that somebody can cause that much of a damage without even invading into Lebanon.
Also, the pagers used by Hezbollah members that simultaneously exploded came from Taiwan, as per a news report of the New York Times, with explosives packed in some time before they arrived in Lebanon. The newspaper further reported that the pagers had been ordered from Taiwanese manufacturer Gold Apollo, citing anonymous American and other officials. And DD India's Amit Mukherjee joins us for more on this. Well, Amit, good morning. Hezbollah calls it biggest security breach in war with Israel, whereas Israeli military has declined to respond to questions about the detonations. How big is this breach of technology? Any reactions there?
Well, Lipakshi, the fact of the matter is there was a huge it was a large-scale execution of a covert operation, primarily targeting Hezbollah operatives who have been residing in Lebanon, and from where they have been carrying out strikes on Israel. Now, despite the fact that Israel has refused, or it has stayed away from commenting on the entire operation, the fact is that about 3,000 the Hezbollah operatives have been targeted very specifically. And in fact, 9 of them have also been, 8 people have been killed, and all of them have been Hezbollah operatives. Now, the fact is, yes, it is definitely one of the biggest operations that has happened. And it would be anybody's guess right now as to who has been behind this operation. But the fact is that inside a civilian territory, such a large-scale operation have been executed targeting people, and it has effectively neutralized the Hezbollah operators who have been since October 7. They have been carrying out several strikes on Israel. In fact, this particular strike was actually orchestrated, as it seems, to kind of evacuate residents who were stranded in northern Israel as a result of the escalated attacks by Hezbollah in the northern part of Israel. So this definitely kind of put a pause on the Hezbollah operations, which also gave time to the Israelis to evacuate about 50,000 residents who were residing in the northern part of Israel, and they were actually caught. They were displaced because of the ongoing war, which actually aggravated in the last few days. Lipakshi?
Right, Amit. As you said, can this lead to further escalation as claimed by Hamas, which the US has sought to prevent and which it believes neither side wants?
Well, as of now, everybody is asserting the details of what has actually triggered this entire operation and who has been actually, behind it. But yes, definitely this would have a cascading effect, because considering that apart from, as far as Israel's war with Hamas is concerned, it has now kind of expanded beyond just Palestine, beyond Gaza. And Gaza and Palestine. In fact, if you see, Iranian-backed operatives are also involved in it. Houthis have also been targeting from time to time several locations, as well as vessels, sea vessels of Israel. So in any case, it has kind of there's no end to the war as of now. No concrete deal as far as the ceasefire is concerned. And every day we are seeing a new chapter as far as escalation is concerned. So definitely this would, again, because considering the fact that Hezbollah has also threatened to kind of respond to it appropriately, we might see a lot of escalation. And in fact, US, as of now, I mean, they have claimed not knowing as to what, they had no idea about the operations, as it is clear from various spokesperson from the US government.
Right, Amit, there's a lot of reading between the lines right now. Thank you so much for all those details. And moving on, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken hopes to advance efforts to achieve a ceasefire deal in Gaza, as well as strengthen bilateral ties with Cairo during his meeting with Egyptian leadership on Wednesday. The top U.S. diplomat's visit comes as the region remains on high alert due to risk of Gaza war expanding, particularly after terrorist group Hezbollah promised to retaliate against Israel, accusing it of detonating pagers across Lebanon on Tuesday. Egypt, alongside Qatar, has been a vital intermediary in US-led diplomacy to end the conflict, shuttling proposals and counter-proposals between Hamas and Israel. Washington has also leaned on Cairo in its efforts to increase the flow of humanitarian aids to Gazans. On the other hand, North Korea fired a missile off the east coast on Wednesday, days after North Korea unveiled a uranium enrichment facility and vowed to beef up its nuclear arsenal. Japan's defense ministry said the North appears to have used a ballistic missile, and Japan's Coast Guard said the missile was believed to have already landed in sea and urged vessels to watch out for falling objects. The South Korean military also confirmed the firing of multiple short-range ballistic missiles. It did not provide further details, including the exact number of missiles launched. The latest launch also came days after the country for the first time showed images of centrifuges that produce fuel for its nuclear bombs, as leader Kim Jong-un visited a uranium enrichment facility and called for more weapons-grade material to boost the arsenal. And presidential election campaigning revved back on Tuesday with Donald Trump heading to Michigan days after the second attempt on his life in 2 months. Supporters from all over mid-Michigan lined up at the Dort Financial Center to see former President Donald Trump in Flint. Outside the rally, some Trump supporters said safety was on their minds. The event was the former president's first visit to Flint since before he was elected president. Meanwhile, the White House said that Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance's recent comments on the assassination attempt on his running mate Donald Trump were dangerous because people look up to him. Vance said during a speech in Atlanta on Monday that Democrats have gone too far in saying re-electing Trump threatens democracy. On the other hand, Democratic nominee Kamala Harris said hostage deal and ceasefire should take precedence before finding a permanent solution to the Israel-Palestine issue. In the run-up to the November 5th presidential elections, she also made a slew of announcements to woo the voters belonging to the colored communities on Tuesday. The U.S. Vice President was interacting with a journalist in a Philadelphia forum organized by the National Association of Black Journalists. Replying to a question regarding solution to the present stalemate in Israel-Hamas war, Harris stressed for release of hostages and ceasefire between the two parties immediately that could be precursor to further movement of finding a permanent two-state solution.
I support Israel's ability to defend itself. And I support the need for Palestinians to have dignity, self-determination, and security as we move forward and get a two-state deal done. But right now, the thing we need to get done is this hostage deal and this ceasefire deal. We need a ceasefire. We need the hostage deal.
Underlying that house should be easily available to needy, the Democratic presidential candidate also made a slew of announcements that may influence the black and other young voters who are finding it difficult to own a house. She promised to give enough subsidy to make housing easy for all.
I'm going to employ and engage the private sector, in particular home builders with tax credits, to give them the incentive to create new housing, 3 million by the end of my first term, and understanding that not everybody is, handed a silver spoon, but works hard and is trying to save up for a down payment. Part of my plan under my opportunity economy is to give first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance.
And coming up, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will launch the NPS Vatsalya Yojana in New Delhi today to provide a strong financial foundation to all the children of the country. Doctors to continue cease work over RG car incident want fresh talks with state government.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. And moving on, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the United States of America from September 21st to 23rd. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi will take part in the 4th Quad Leaders Summit in Wilmington, Delaware, which is being hosted by U.S. President Biden on September 21st. At the Quad Summit, the leaders will review the progress achieved by the Quad over the last 1 year and set the agenda for the year ahead to assist the countries of the Indo-Pacific region in meeting their developmental goals and aspirations. Prime Minister Modi will address the Summit of the Future at the United Nations General Assembly in New York on September 23rd. The theme of the summit is Multilateral Solutions for a Better Tomorrow. A large number of global leaders are expected to participate in the summit. On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister would be holding bilateral meetings with several world leaders and discuss issues of mutual interest. And voting for the first phase of assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir began on Wednesday morning. This is the first election in the Union Territory after the abrogation of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. More than 23 lakh voters are eligible to press the EVM button, determining the fate of 219 candidates spread across 7 districts. 24 of its total 90 constituencies are going to hustings in round 1 of 3-phase assembly elections. All SOPs of Election Commission are being followed in the Union Territory. Arrangements have been made for webcasting at every polling station and cameras have been installed to monitor polling. That will be from the control room. The assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir are being held in 3 phases, the second on September 25th and the third on October 1st. Votes will be counted on the 8th of October. And India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is going to launch the NPS Vatsalya scheme in New Delhi on Wednesday. NPS Vatsalya is a financial investment that parents or guardians can make on behalf of their minor children with minimum contribution of 1,000 rupees per year and no limit on maximum contribution. It will serve as a meaningful way to provide them with financial support until they start earning and investing on their own. NPS Vatsalya events will be organized simultaneously at nearly 75 locations throughout the country. The scheme was announced in the Union Budget 2024-25. And the Embassy of India in Bahrain celebrated Hindi Day, drawing over 200 members of the local Indian community. Ambassador Vinod K. Jacob highlighted the significance of Hindi language and culture. A series of poems and plays underscored the importance of one's mother tongue in everyday life. The performances not only entertained but also reinforced the cultural ties binding in the Indian diaspora in Bahrain. This annual observance serves to promote Hindi language awareness and celebrate India's linguistic diversity on the international stage. Well, the protesting doctors at Kolkata's RG Kar Medical College and Hospital, where a trainee doctor was raped and killed, announced that they will continue their strike until all the demands are met, including the removal of the health secretary. The agitating medicos also sought fresh talks with the government a day after holding meetings with Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. The doctors made the announcement after a 5-hour-long governing body meeting held late on Monday. Seeking a new round of talks, the doctors on Tuesday said that the government should provide them with a democratic environment and also listed fresh demands. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Indian Army unveiled Himdrone-a-thon to revolutionize high-altitude operations through the use of drones. This pioneering initiative aims to tap into the power of cutting-edge indigenous technology, focusing on enhancing operational efficiency and tactical superiority in some of the most challenging terrains on the planet through the use of drones within the ambit of Atmanirbhar Bharat. On the auspicious occasion of Anant Chaturdashi, the Indore city witnessed the 101st year of the tableau tradition. Thousands witnessed stunning tableau features in various mythological stories crafted by the textile mill workers, continuing the city's cherished heritage. Indian citizens bid a grand farewell to Lord Ganesh as the 10-day Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations culminated on Tuesday. The highlight of Visarjan this year were the colourful processions, which included DJs playing bhajans, drum and dhol beats, and group of dancers accompanied by a large number of devotees. On to some sports news now. In Chess Olympiad 2024, India dominated open and women's section after 6 rounds in Budapest. Today, around 7 matches will be played in Budapest. Another 5 rounds remain, but India is well placed to secure a double and even to improve upon the bronze medal it won in both sections of the previous edition of the Olympiad. Indian men's and women's team go into round 7 of the 45th Wide Chess Olympiad with sole lead. In round 6, it was Arjun Erigaisi who once again played a key role for the men's team after D. Gukesh and R. Pragananda drew on the top 2 boards with Richard Rapport and Peter Lecco respectively. India needed a win on the 3rd board. Arjun duly gave this team that. India, the only team to have won all of its matches in the women's 45th Wide Chess Olympiad, led after Divya Deshmukh scored on board 3 to defeat Armenia. That proved the most valuable point of round 6 for her team. Without her win, India would not have won the match. And defending champions, India secured a hard-fought 1-0 victory over host China to claim their 5th Asian Champions Trophy hockey title in Olympiad. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the men's hockey team for winning the Asian Champions Trophy. PM Modi praised their performance and commitment, saying that the team has made the country proud. The Prime Minister posted on X, and I quote, "Congratulations to the incredible Indian men's hockey team for winning the Asian Men's Hockey Champions Trophy 2024. Their remarkable performance, unwavering spirit and dedication have made the nation proud," unquote. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.